Hey, Tiger.
Don, how you doing?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you doing?
Terrific. Nice and cool in Missoula.
Yeah. It's um out here in Montana, very few people have air conditioning. And I keep on debating whether to put it in because it does get quite, it can get over 100, every single summer. But at night it cools down so fast, right? So we just open our windows. So my wife has this habit every morning, everything's open, all the mountain air is coming down, it cools off the house to like 60 degrees or in the low 60s. And so I'm wearing fleeces, you know, trying to keep warm, in my home office. Ever since COVID, I work from home now. I realize I don't need to go in the office. My other engineers are at the office. So
Yep.
yeah, yeah,
Cool.
it's the world. Yeah. Yeah. So thanks for be willing to, take the time. I just want to be crystal clear. I'm not doing this because I got some kind of hidden agenda. I'm just straight up. I thought, you know what, I'd be kind of interested what, Tiger thinks of some of our technologies. I mean, I've been in the business since 1993. So those of us have been around for a while, we have a good flavor for what's what. And yeah, so do you know my partner, Dan Justin? Do you know Dan?
Yeah,
Do
I
you-
know. I know Dan. I know
Yeah.
Dan before 1993.
Ah,
Yeah.
how's that? How did you?
Well, we were both engineers, about the same age. I remember when he started Medicine Lodge with Wade,
Yeah.
and Dr. Goebel. I remember when he was in college and he invented the ISKD, and then we crossed paths again. My first startup was in 2008 called Novaline.
Okay.
Dan was the acting vice president of R&D from Medicine Lodge when they got spun out of an incubator.
Yep.
And so I was hired into that role. So I replaced Dan, and there was a handoff there, and I went to meetings with them, and
Oh,
we talk all the time.
okay.
He's a genius technology guy. What he did with nanotechnology,
Yeah.
and built value and sold it really quickly. I mean, he's got
Yeah.
he's a really good technology guy. He's probably doesn't understand the business side as much, but
Right.
yeah, great guy. I hope he's not working too hard because he worked
No,
really hard the last few years.
he does. He's working, we started it and I said, I started the company and I was introduced to Dan at Academy 2000 in 22 in
Okay,
2022.
got it.
And we hit it off, share same faith. And we were introduced by another party, a friend. And Dan called me up. He said, "Hey, I want to hear more. What are you thinking about doing?" And something just clicked with me. Where again, we're same age, same educational background, undergrad and grad. In 1993, when I started, it was with DePuy DuPont, the joint venture with Heilemer and stuff.
Yeah.
And my job was they had other materials. They had a resorbable material. And my very first project was an ACL resorbable Kurisaka screw with Marlowe Goebel.
Wow.
So I went out to medicine, and I never met Dan, but Ray Olson, who ran the sheet thing, and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. Dan and I have crisscrossed a million times, have never actually personally met. Anyhow, well, let me. What I'm going to do is I want to kind of just show you some of the things in the deck,
Sure. Yeah.
right? So Exodus New Ventures is what Dan and I started.
Okay.
You can check out our website. The purpose of the website is less about Exodus, even though we've hired these younger executives. So Ryan Schlotterback,
Yeah.
Ryan,
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Ryan's been around
right?
for, yeah.
Yep. So I originally hired Ryan at Tournier, but hired him from BioPoly to come into Exodus, and he really recommended we bring his right hand man Justin Kaler, who is the chief commercialization officer, and then we hired Scott McKeag,
Yeah.
who is
Yeah.
right kind of head of digital stuff at Smith Nephew, and most recently we just brought on Chad Lewis out of Smith Nephew.
Yeah.
And so we got these, four executives because we have four companies. So Exodus New Ventures is a venture studio. We found the companies, we fund them, and then flourish. We grow them so that
Yeah,
we can
yeah.
sell
No,
them off.
I know the model really well. Do you guys have capital or do you have to go raise it each time?
Yeah, we. Look, that's a great question. We're in the middle of a raise right now. We did one raise. We got started it. We raised about 4 million in seed capital, and that birthed the four companies and moved them forward. All four, those three of the four companies are going commercial this year.
Wow.
And so we're out doing. We thought, you know what? Rather than just doing an Exodus raise, we're going out under Exodus raise, but you could invest in any one of the four entities. We just want to give people their choice.
It's a menu choice. Yeah.
Yep, yep, exactly. And what we're thinking is that upon a first exit, then what we want to do is we want to set up a lot of venture studios, right? They're not common in our world. They're common in the tech world, right?
Yeah.
Once you've proven that you're successful, right? Um, then you normally do like a fund. You go out, you have a separate fund,
Yeah.
and
Part
right,
of the exit goes into fund, yeah, start a fund. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And so we're holding off on doing the fund, and so it was birthed out of me. I started with Jeff Ondola, Rob All. We started Genesis Innovation Group, which grew really well, and we did a number of companies, and then we did Cultivate MD, and I created this because my partners at Genesis, we had a board meeting and they said, what do we all want to be doing a year from now? And I said, well, our fund cannot invest in startups. I love startups. I've been doing startups for 20 years. They're like, go do it, Don. And if I can grow a company to commercialization, then Cultivate could invest. So it's kind of a win-win for everybody. Um, so yeah, that's the background behind it. And I'll just, let me try to share it with you just so you can see it. It's way better to.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, let's see. I'll do my screen. I'll start the broadcast. And then I'll go to this one. All right, you see in the deck?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Slide one.
All right. So I'm not going to go through everything. You know, we're hands-on venture studio. You know about them. These are just Dan and I. These are the companies that Dan and I have been part of starting and exiting a number of them. And
And
so what?
Shoulder Innovations, I heard they're going to file an S1 later.
Yeah.
Is that true? Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Ryan just sent me a Piper Jaffray like M&A activity, and they put on there. It's supposed to be secret, but there was right on the slide. They said, "Yeah, we're taking Shoulder Innovations, public this year." So
Yeah, word gets out fast.
yeah, yeah.
Well, good. Yeah, the good news for you is Carlsmed will test the waters a little bit,
Yeah.
even though it's completely different technology. But
Right, right, right. It will be interesting. I mean, obviously I'm biased. I led product development for Shoulder Innovations. That's what I stepped out of to start Exodus. And there are a lot of hot products. They are really, that Incent Glenoid Tiger is
yeah,
unbelievable. Yeah. Anyhow, um, so Dan and I have done a lot of stuff. My point is not to tell you about us. You already know about us. Greg Downey, he helped with funding starting orthopediatrics.
wow. Okay.
Yeah, Greg is a co-founder with Dan and I. He's was early on. He has a small amount of equity, but yeah, there's the four guys. And then, the first guy that called me when he retired was Andrew Reckdahl. So Andrew's part of, he serves on some of our boards and stuff. And Scott Banks, you'll be hearing about, and some other, surgeons. Dean Cole invented, that was Ace Trauma when DePuy bought Ace.
Hmm.
That was Dr. Cole, and his engineer was Dan.
Yeah, yeah. Both,
Is
yeah,
that what? Is that
yeah.
small? Yeah.
Small world. Yeah, both in Florida. Dean's been on the cutting edge a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He's our one of our biggest investors, and he is heavily involved. We have a niche. We try to pick disruptive technologies, no new materials, right? We low threshold for FDA approval. That's been a key to our success. And then the things we like to have, we've got a lot of AI expertise. We like to go into pre-op or post-op care because that's kind of those new markets, right?
Yeah.
And then obviously it's synergistic with our current portfolio. That I mean, that's just wisdom, right? You do something you're already doing with a little twist to it. But this is Dan's formula for success. I won't go through it. But so he started with one company, ArthurTac, in mid 2022. And then in 23, we added this Simultech, which is the only company we didn't start. We took the whole thing over and kind of tore it down and rebuilt it. Ryan's the president of that. And then at the beginning of 24, we started ODI. At the end of 24, we greenlit Luminate. And so we're doing our raise right now. So I wanted to, so the technologies, I just want to run these four by you, okay?
Okay.
Um, I'll start with ArthurTac is the one that we're all familiar with. It's bread and butter. It's a device, okay? So it's a sutureless tendon attachment device. Um, and Dr. Amit Nathani, a shoulder specialist in Santa Barbara, came to me with a sketch and an idea, okay? And he's so biceps tenodesis repair. For an expert, the doctors tell me their surgical time, their actual operating would be on the order of 10 to 15 minutes, probably closer to 15 minutes, right?
Yep.
For an average doc, it takes 30, right? And for those, there's a lot of docs that won't even try doing a biceps tenodesis. And I don't know if you know the procedure, but this is Arthrex, the leading procedure. I'm not going to just watch this in 60 seconds, right? Right. You tenotomize the tendon, you run a loop around it, you run the wire through, you stitch the stump, you run the wire through another device, you drill a hole, right? You insert that through the hole, you pull the stump down inside, then you come with another device, you screw that one all the way down, get rid of all the sutures until finally that's what you're left with, right?
Yeah. Is it through two cannula? Is that or
Yeah, right. So it that this is not our invention. This is Arthrex, okay? So the leading product. And it scares surgeons, average surgeons to do that. And my doc comes and it's a sheetrock anchor.
yeah. Molly Bolt. I love it.
Yep, exactly. Drive, deploy, done. Jeff Abrams, the 49ers team doc, is one of our three designers. And this is the validation lab, right? So it's a peak anchor. It's two pieces. It's all disposable. It's self-punching. So you just pierce the tendon. And the engineer is instructing him every step. So it took him 40 seconds. Normally it takes about 25 seconds to 30 seconds to do the procedure, right? And he just taps it down.
Yeah, that's a big advance. So the theme that I'm seeing, it's
Hmm.
been for the last 18 months, maybe 24 months, and I keep writing about this, but the we're killing surgeons and hospitals with complexity. And
Yep.
yeah, and it's and I've talked to surgeons that own hospitals and they say we literally have our number one problem is not money, it's not patients, it's not equipment, it's labor.
Yeah.
And they said if my sterilization people call in sick, we have to cancel cases because
Oh,
and
man.
there's like, hundreds of trays they're having to process.
Yep.
And just more and more and more robots, more steps, more. So I'm a big fan of two areas. One is I think sports medicine is I think we're in a 10-year run for the golden period of sports medicine.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think I've written about this, but we've gone. You and I are old enough to have watched
Hmm.
when I started in the late '80s, and it was all about joints.
Yep.
And then in the '90s, trauma kind of was improved, and then the late '90s, early 2000s, spine took off.
Hmm.
Golden years for spine, and then in the 2000s, I was part of that biologics explosion at Wright Medical.
Hmm.
And now we went to the Mako robot,
Yeah.
craziness. And the missing one is sports medicine. I think
Yeah.
surgeons have done what I think of, they're exhausted with suture anchors and sutures and cannulas, and they've just done everything they can through a cannula. And you go to these surgeries and they're just putting things in and out, in and out, and it's like hundreds of steps.
Yes.
So I think the future is sports medicine, simple fixation, probably not this project, but biologics, things that recruit cells and repair
Yeah.
better. And are you familiar with Tetris?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tetris is a cool company. Are you
Mhm.
familiar with Abanza? Uh,
Mm.
that's
No, I haven't seen a Bonza.
yeah.
No.
There's a bunch of little companies like Abanza that are they're reinventing attachment for tendons and ligaments and muscle.
Yeah.
Um, uh,
Yeah.
and they're the device companies too. So anyway, keep going. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I like it.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Just a last point. So well, there's three designing surgeons, Meet Nathani, Matt Pfeiffer. They're heavily involved with Arthrex and Shoulder Innovations and other companies. They're partners. They own their own ASC, and then of course Jeff Abrams up at Stanford. And so Matt and Amit are really surgeon businessmen. They really understand it. Anyhow, the head of M&A for an unnamed, very giant company. I'll just leave the name out for right now. Um, Knew that Amit was playing around with. He's involved in like 6 or 7 different startup technologies. This is the only kind of truly shoulder one, and he wanted to hear what Amit was doing. Amit told him, and the guy said, "Nope, nope, heck no, that's dumb." And he finally got to this one, and he said, "Amit, I tell you, I look at about 1,000 deals a year, which is an exaggeration, but." He said, I might pick one, maybe two. He said, we are seriously interested in this one. So this was just like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So this one might go fast,
Yeah.
even this
Right.
year.
That's the third thing I like is biceps tendon is a hot area. So is the patella procedure, the patellofemoral, I forgot what you call it, where you move
Mm-hmm.
the patella medially, to prevent dislocation.
Yep.
And then the quad, quad repair. I mean, these are hot areas. Everybody's focused on ACL and rotator cuff, but these are underserved areas.
Yeah. Yeah. You make me think I wanted to say one last, but I'll say one. Last time was one last, but I'll say one last one. The M&A guy, I thought I had thought of everything, but he thought of something that was captain obvious. So if there's 400 to 500,000 rotator cuff procedures a year, and Pascal Boileau had published long ago saying 90 to 95% of the time when he does a rotator cuff, he should be doing a biceps tenodesis. They both get injured almost all the same time, but
Yep.
there's only like 220,000 biceps tenodesis done. The M&A guy said what the biggest reason he's excited and interested in arthrotachi is it's because too many surgeons are afraid to do it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
a comp
you're expanding the pie.
bingo.
Yeah, you're making it easier. You're another thing to bill. It only takes a few minutes.
Yep,
I this is an easy one,
an
Don.
easy one. Yeah, I'm hoping so. All right, let's get into the crazy stuff. Scientific motion.
Let me back up though, because
Yep.
technology is obviously is sometimes the easy part. So how
Mhm.
are you selling this? Are you gonna go
No,
commercial through some 1099s, or are you going to just try to package it up and sell it?
we're filing the 510K. We're in the next, I don't know how long, it's several weeks. We're just waiting on that aging study.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, and then we've identified like 5 to 10 distributors. So we're just doing a limited release.
Okay.
And the plan is that my plan was I was going to initiate discussions when we were commercially launched, right out of the gate, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But the companies have moved faster than I was ready. But we're planning on just flipping it as soon as we
Okay.
can.
So you just
And,
need to do some clinicals just to prove there's no disasters and
yep.
yeah, but you're not collecting clinical data. I mean, I love it.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks. Yeah.
One.
All right, Simotech. All right.
Okay.
This non-surgical solution radically reduces knee pain. There's a company, you can write it down, look it up on your own on YouTube called Apos Health if you haven't heard of it.
Oh, I know APOS. Yeah, I love those shoes. I don't know why they're not prescribed more in the US.
Yep, yep, yep. So that was why Andrew Ekdahl joined us. This was the first call. He said, "I know you guys are doing Simotech. I tried to buy Apos. This is Andrew, right? He said I did 6 months of due diligence. I got approval, offered 500 million, and they turned me down.
Wow. And that's Israeli, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Yep, yep, yep. And fundamentally, there's two problems. Number one is their business model is totally 100% wrapped up into partnering with physical therapists,
Yeah.
right? So you got a bad knee, and APO says you must first go to a physical therapist so you can steal the patient from an orthopedic surgeon. That in our world,
Doesn't
that's
work in
real.
the US. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. The second thing, they're very, very analog. So we're real big on the science and the technology, right? Our head of clinical treatment, this is his one of his patients from APOS. He ran the busiest center in London, and there's 5 months of the technology. So you know how it works. You change the load vector.
Yeah.
They right. So this is our patent pending device. It's a patient specific, so it's different for every patient.
Right.
They walk on the.
Dan and
Mhm.
I talked about this like a year ago or something. I remember he
Okay.
he was asking me, and he saw the same thing I did, where this is a technology that works and it
Yeah.
and prevents surgeries, and that and why isn't everybody getting prescribed, you know?
Yep. It's my biggest question, everybody. If you look at APOS, then you wonder why is it not everywhere? And I just think, there's companies that aren't doing things correctly, even though they do have the right answer. So we're able to successfully treat three buckets of patients. One are the ones you're looking at, right? They've got bad, painful OA, bone on bone. That's our prime patient. A patient who needs a total knee, we can 99.9% guarantee we will fix them.
Wow.
Okay. The second bucket are those patients who they got a total knee, and when they're starting physical therapy at 6 or 7 weeks, they at the same time they get this therapy. Okay, so this guy got analyzed. This is some of the inventions that Dan and I have helped to invent, patient specific. But this is the guy wearing our footwear with sensors, so we're tracking them at home.
Do you put it on your own shoes, or you have to buy the shoe too?
Yeah, it's no, the shoes, the footwear and everything is very high tech. It comes with it. It's
Okay,
all
got it. Got it.
it's all a
Snaps on,
package.
everything snaps into a groove or
Yeah,
something in the shoe. Okay, got it.
yeah, yeah. And it's $5,000 cash pay for a year for
Okay.
the year's treatment. So far, we've got a hit rate of about 80% of the people, um, you know, have signed up for it. It's an
So
incredibly profitable business. Yeah.
why can't you just go, this is screaming direct to consumer to me?
Mm.
Uh,
Because the key is we want one of our main things is we want this to be we're partnering with orthopedic surgeon practices. So we're about to well, we've already unofficially opened our first center in Orlando. We're going to have a real grand opening like in a month or so. And then Fort Myers, and then probably, we're going to spread across Florida, and then hopefully we'll sell the company. And I want to tell you the third bucket, and this is the key thing. This is like shoulder innovations. Why would a shoulder doc switch to shoulder innovations? Do you know how they're getting docs to switch?
no.
The inset glenoid is the only glenoid you can use in a C-type glenoid with a really shallow vault. You can't fit any other glenoid in. So we go to the doctors and say, hey, you got 5 or 10% of those patients. Let us do those. The doctor does it like 5 or 6 times and says, wait a second, this is the easiest total shoulder I've ever done. Why am I not doing it on my A's and
I
B's?
see. So
Right.
you get your the camel gets his nose under the tent,
Yep.
and then the surgeon says, this is a no-brainer, and he basically switches without any sales process. I love that.
Amen. Amen. And here it is for Simultech. Our third bucket are patients who have a total knee greater than 1 year out that's still painful.
Huh.
We have been 100% in fixing every one of those patients.
Wow.
Yeah, it's small. I mean, it's anecdotal. I
Right,
mean,
right.
we don't
No,
have,
but
right?
it's real. That's real.
It is amazing. We even treated my mother-in-law, and if
So
we if we hadn't have fixed her, I would never heard the end of it. But
so it just screams direct to consumer to me. 'Cause the biggest problem you have is, and this happens with biologics and some other technologies, is surgeons are scared to death of losing patients. They're scared to death of losing total joint patients.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is an anti incentive for them.
Mm. Oh, I'm sorry, Tiger. When
Yeah,
we partner with them, the surgeon will get $1,000. They will get the same amount as if they operated. And if the patient is coming, the surgeons are the ones that actually describe the business model to me. They're
okay,
like, if I start referring you patients and they're happy to me for what I have had them do. I sent them to this treatment, which they think is my treatment for them.
right,
We're not curing them. We're just pushing them out
right.
further, right?
Delaying the inevitable. Yeah, but still, I mean, joint surgeons like to do joints, you know,
Yep.
and
Yep. So, yep.
it,
So get one more thing. I'm sorry, Tiger, but I got it.
keep going.
You're hitting all the right buttons, right? And here's the key is by partnering with orthopedic surgeons, what we're telling them is you're able to actually right now your number one problem is you have so much volume you can't keep up. This is going to carve off enough patients to allow you at I'm not presenting it the right way. I'm
No,
trying to
so you're moving patients in the funnel later
Yeah,
on. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
got it.
exactly. Yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah. So, man, the surgeons have been, and so we've done a study. We didn't have to, but we've done one because we want to publish. Then we want to publish on the one greater than 1 year post-op knee pain. I think that would just light the board up for orthopedic surgeons wanting to do this therapy, and just kind of backdoor it. Treat
Yeah.
those patients first, then say, well, why wouldn't you do it preoperatively? We'll get their ligaments tuned up for when they do need a total knee,
Yeah,
and
no,
that's
I totally get the technology, but I think the business model,
yeah.
I mean, I think you're gonna get pushback. Um,
Yeah.
the other thing that I've learned in the hard way is nobody cares about clinical data.
Yeah.
I mean, it's taken me decades to realize that. You got to have some clinical data and you got to check the box. You
Hmm.
know, if going through a value analysis committee or, surgeon says, okay, I'll show me the data. I may be interested, but then nobody cares. Nobody cares. It's all apples and oranges. Nobody's got apples and apples data. Clinical data doesn't matter at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Here's the beauty.
man, I would just go direct to consumer.
Right.
Why can't you go direct to consumer and just have patients pay out of pocket and have a surgeon finder? Um,
Yeah. How about this? How about a modification? This is what I've been telling the others. This is what I think is going to happen. We're going to open our centers. We're going to go talk to orthopedic surgeon practices. Um, and we're going to tell them, send us your painful total knee patients. If the only thing this technology ever did was treat those patients, it would be a multi-$100 million business.
yeah, no, I get it.
Okay. So let's imagine that we roll that out. We're out there, 2 or 3 years, it's working well. Then we branch off and do a direct to consumer for the preoperative patient. We go DTC for those patients. Meanwhile, we're still all these total knee docs are still sending us all their painful total knee patients because we're helping them. They're actually making money off it, and they're making their patients happy.
Yeah, I understand. I just think that's a harder road. I mean, the good news about direct to consumer is, you know, it's just like Treese. Treese Medical has taught us all, right? That
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I talked to a foot and ankle surgeon the other day, and I said, what do you use for bunion? She goes, oh, we use Treese. And I said, why is that? She goes, oh, they're all the same. It doesn't matter. But Treese just brings us tons of patients every day. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
all it is a marketing service
yeah,
and
yeah.
so they say on their website, we do the Lapiplasty,
Uh-huh.
and then they're on the surgeon finder, and just the patients just come pouring in. It's like free marketing. So
Yeah, that's good. I appreciate, and that's why I wanted, because I wanted to have this healthy kind of not debate, but
bad
interact.
the bad news about direct to consumer is it's expensive, and
Exactly.
you have to raise a lot of money
Yep.
on the front end. But that's world domination, man. That's
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's what APOS has done. APOS has tried to flood the New York City and Philadelphia market, and they did it over in England. And our head clinician, he told us that APOS said that their sales and marketing costs were 40% of what they were getting taking in.
okay.
So it was a
It's
huge,
a margin killer. Yeah.
it was a margin killer. But just so you know, Ryan, we've encouraged Ryan, because we're early going out, we can test market things. So we can go up to the villages, go to the, direct to consumer, and what the villages
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
Yeah.
Massive place outside Orlando. Yeah. Yeah.
That's the beauty of being in Florida. We can get the business model nailed, which is what the number one thing Andrew Ekdahl told us from the beginning. He says technology is great, it's awesome. You have to figure out the business
I
model.
agree. I totally
Yeah,
agree. Yeah. Business model is the hardest thing nowadays. It's
yeah, yeah.
it's selling, building the sales forces and sales and marketing, building a sales force,
Hmm.
figuring out the business model. The easy part is the technology and you know, it's
Yeah,
crazy. The FDA is easy, even raising seed money is easy.
yeah.
So, yeah, you gotta really test the business model on this one.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know what to do.
Yeah. Well, my big push to Ryan, and Ryan's number one MBO is get the first center open. That will prove everything. And he's already exceeding all expectations. First of all, he's already generating revenue when he weren't expecting it. So he's generating significant revenue for something that's not even open yet. It's been quite impressive. So,
Let me share a quick story. So,
yeah.
have you ever heard of a company? I'm sure you haven't, called Kinomatic, Kinomatic. It's I just met these guys a couple weeks ago, um, and it opened my eyes up a lot. Kinomatic.com.
Okay.
It's a crappy website because it's built for patients. Um, and I'm going to try to explain it, but I'm not going to do a good job. This is a concierge service for patients and surgeons
Hmm.
for total hip and total knee candidates. And
Interesting.
patients, I think patients pay out of pocket um, for this service. And the premise is if you go see Dr. Jones, Dr. Jones has his favorite total knee that they use. And when Dr. Jones walks into the operating room, they don't even know who the patient is. They go, oh, who are we doing today? Okay, it's Betty. Okay, I think I remember her. And
Yeah.
the implant's already chosen. It comes in 7 sizes, 9 sizes. It's on everything's, and he just walks in, does the case. Well, what Kinematic does is they've got 5, 6, 7 implant systems in their pre-op planning.
Uh-huh.
The surgeon, I'm not sure exactly how this works, but um, the patient pays out of pocket. The surgeon gets some AR goggles. It's all software. They have zero hardware.
Hmm.
Uh, the surgeon puts on goggles and drags in different implants and says, "Oh, look, it's the Zimmer Biomet knee fits perfect. That's the one we should use."
Hmm.
And it actually can, in 5 minutes, can go through the cuts and make sure everything fits perfect. Oh, the patient has to do a CT scan too. Um, and I was thinking, yeah, that's not going to work. These guys,
Yeah.
these guys are killing it, Don. I mean, they're going to hundreds of sites, and everybody wants this because there's so many wealthy people in the U.S.
Yeah.
that want the premium care,
Yeah.
and they don't trust the medical system, maybe. Uh,
Yeah.
and anyway, so having learned about kinematic more, I think that the Simotech could could be the same thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Interesting.
yeah, but now your problem is you have hardware, so you have to do a custom fit. The patient has to go into some physical therapy area and get customized, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And then they just wear it 30 minutes a day.
Yeah, yeah, that's the beauty. I love the A post, and it doesn't, you don't have to wear it to bed. You just wear it a little bit. Um, anyway, you got to figure out the business model. But, and
Yeah.
is there any way, I think I'm brainstorming, is there any way you can find somebody that's left Appos that
Yeah.
will talk to you honestly?
Yeah, we have the connections. And again, our head clinical guy was one of their top clinical guys in the world.
But
But
more on the business side, like
yeah, yeah,
why didn't Appos take off in the US?
yeah, we have the gal who is the head of sales and marketing for the US, and she left APOS, and she's
Perfect.
kind of like the young midlife crisis. I'm gonna, 35 or years old, and I'm just gonna travel around the world, and she's interested in talking, so we're gonna,
Cool. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Buy
no,
her
that's
time. You got to figure out the business model. This technology works. It delays surgery. Patients are happy. It'll
yeah,
work post-op or pre-op. I mean, I get all that. That's the easy part. It's
yeah,
you got to figure out. You got to take the friction out of
right,
somebody. Why would a patient want this? How do they find out about it? How
yeah.
does a physical therapy person find out about it? Is it prescription, I guess? Is that what it is?
Yeah. Well, no, no, no. It does not require a
Okay,
surgeon's.
it's just a out-of-pocket pay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. 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 It's interesting. I've got the kinematic site up. It's interesting. Dr.
Yeah,
Scott.
yeah, and the site's crap. And he said,
Yeah.
I talked to Chris Fry, their head of sales. He said, yeah, the site's crappy, but um, he said this thing is everybody wants this.
Amazing.
Yeah. And
Well,
it's a concierge service. That's the best way I can.
yeah, yeah, exactly. That's the way of the future. So Alex Saw, he's extremely interested in Simultech and the next two technologies I'm about to show you,
Okay.
which actually would be another. This is going to be interesting. Check this one out. So this was ODI, orthopedic driven imaging. Was going down for a Simultech thing, and Scott Banks is involved in Simultech. And Scott said, I got a couple of gut friends I want you to meet. They're experts in 30 plus years in fluoroscopy, in imaging.
Mhm.
Okay. PhDs, engineers, businessmen. And we ended along the short of it. We started a company called ODI with imaging engineering, which is our hardware partner. And then Vent Creativity, you know about Vent with Gilly. Have
No,
you
I
seen?
don't. I don't.
Oh, he should. All right. Well, you'll see it here in a second. Let me just. All right. This is, about OrthoGrid and RadLink and
Oh yeah,
LA.
I did recruiting for OrthoGrid. Yeah, I loved that technology. It's so
Yep.
smart. Yeah.
So the simple name for ODI is the OrthoGrid killer. Okay.
Okay. I like it.
All right. Yeah. So first of all, OrthoGrid, it's helping you interoperatively, right? But get this premise, right? Surgeons have to plan in 2D, but they operate in 3D. That's one of the problems. The other one is once the surgery's done, they have no way to accurately analyze how well the implant's working,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
Okay. So what's our solution is our, freeform CT scan. So Scott's PhD guys have figured out how to we take a C arm, and our hardware partners have proprietary technology in which they can digitally upgrade an OEC 9800 or 9900, right? So that's 70% of the C arms out there on the market. We can go in for a low cost and turn it into a unparalleled digital C arm. And they have figured out, this is a real scan, how to do a CT scan with fluoroscopy.
So is that a software upgrade? What what
Yeah,
it,
it's hardware and then software that combination.
okay, so it's a lot like OrthoGrid where there's a disposable component that you buy.
Well, there's actually
Huh?
there's not. Orthogrid just charges. It was 600. That's actually going up, believe it or not. In Florida, they're billing 750 to $1,000 a case just for the privilege of using Orthogrid. And this product, you'd be able to do a 3D scan. You can do your 3D plan. I didn't tell you, but Rob Ball and Jeff Onderl and I, we developed with the partners Blueprint, Stryker's, Blueprint software for total shoulder,
Yeah, yeah.
right? It's the number one used software in the world for total shoulder arthroplasty, and that's because we allow the surgeon to do the planning at their home
Hmm.
in 2 to 3 minutes. This would do the same thing. You get a scan, do a 3D plan. We have LiDAR cameras on the C arm, which allows you to guide the reamer to replicate your
And
plan.
the LiDAR cameras, is that temporary and you take them home and they're sterilized, or is it, or are they bought?
They would be part of built right into the C arm.
Okay, got it. So they're like snapped onto the C arm somewhere. Okay,
Yeah, yeah. So we would go into a practice, we'd upgrade their C arm, their
got
surgical,
it.
and then we would
There's
do a clip.
hardware. That's the hardware upgrade. I got it.
Yep. And we'd also do a clinical unit where that 3D scan would occur. You come into the clinic, you'd get a static X-ray, which you normally do, right? And then you'd get a 3D scan with this C arm. So you'd have a CT scan, basically, without all the radiation.
Yeah, cool.
Okay. It guides it. And then when the patient comes in, we do a full-blown kinematic analysis for the doctor and the patient to tell them how well it's working.
So that's after the implants are in. Can you do it with the trials in?
Yep. Yep.
That's pretty
Yep.
cool. So when you do a 3D scan, does the radiologist tech just rotate the C arm around, or is
Yep. Yep. He just waggles the C arm in and out of plane and then around the C. It takes about 30, 40 seconds while the patient is lying there. So now the computer software has the whole 3D model and it uses Vent's patented technology. I don't know how familiar you are with this world of software, but I'm extremely familiar, and I was disbelieving until I found out what they do. It's absolutely amazing. They take the raw data, which is a point cloud, and what everybody else does is we convert the point cloud into pictures. He just uses the point cloud. What you see on the left, that's a point cloud.
the green and blue is
Yeah.
just
Yep.
dots,
Yep.
pixels. Yeah.
Right. So he has bone density. He can tell you exactly where the ligamentous insertions are, which is the next company, which I'll be telling you about in a minute. But he can accurately build a digital twin of that patient's joint,
Okay.
and we can take the bones through a range of motion and accurately predict the kinematics and the kinetics, the loading in each compartment. It's right. So the middle picture of that C arm, that's an upgraded C arm. So Orthogrid uses an analog C arm. I didn't know that. That little picture that we see,
Hmm.
on the screen,
Yeah.
that's a CRT. That's a 1950s television. And what Orthogrid does is they take a screenshot, so now it's digital, and they take that screenshot and they bring it into their software and then manipulate it. Well, what we do is we just go right to digital. That big square in the C arm, that flat panel, it's a 17 by 17-inch screen. We pick up the entire pelvis, the whole thing in one shot.
Cool.
And it's all digital. There's no manipulation. We get around everybody's patents because, and we filed a bunch of IP because we go direct to the source. It's all digital. We take out the little 386 Atari processor and we put a supercomputer in it and off to the races.
Wow. This is interesting.
Yeah, this one we've got already. The majors are already asking. I've already presented to one. They want another. They want another big meeting with the rest of their staff. We got cold called from the biggest giant in the park, who missed out on buying Orthogrid.
Hmm.
They want to talk. It, we haven't even gone commercial yet.
Well,
We're
that's a
we're
good
gonna go
problem to have.
commercial. Yeah,
Are
in
you are
next.
you familiar with Visi?
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, very familiar. Yeah, Lon White. I reviewed this with Lon at the very beginning when I was trying to decide whether or not to start ODI, and Lon said, "Holy cow!" Because Lon did, he's done Visi, he did Radlink, he was part of Joint Point and Cuptimize, which is now Velis.
Hmm.
And Lon was the one of the two or three people who encouraged me to do ODI. He said, "You'll kill all the others. Your technology, once it's on the market, will obviate everybody else's technology."
And the key is, I mean, the killer is that you're using existing C-arms
Yep.
and you're not changing the procedure other than a quick scan.
Yep.
That is a killer.
Yeah.
That's the other area I wanted to talk about was sports medicine and imaging, navigation.
Yep.
I think those are the hot areas.
Well, then you're going to enjoy the last one.
Okay.
Luminate. We just greenlit this one at the end of last year and it's rocketing forward. So again, we partner with Vent Creativity and we have so ODI owns all the exclusive rights to fluoroscopy usage of Vent software. Luminate owns the MRI rights to sports medicine. Okay. Right. So what's the problem, right? Doctors, this is all they have is 2D scan, an MRI, 2D slices. But what if we could turn it into a 3D model? This is real data. What if we could accurately put the ligaments in? And what if those ligaments, we can take the knee preoperatively through a range of motion, we can accurately predict kinematics and loading. Okay. And now we allow the surgeon to do the surgery and on his computer, like do an ACL procedure, replace the ACL, try different tunnel positions. Obviously, we'll develop an AI tool that will put the tunnel in the optimal position, take it through a range of motion. Okay. There's a real plan. That was the first plan that was done. And then our real dream is because we own both companies, we'll have Luminate talk to ODI and if you're willing to take a C-arm in for an ACL or a PCL or something like that, we will be able to guide your drill to replicate your plan.
Got it. Got it.
And
So,
then the post-op kinematic analysis would be the same thing.
mhm. So is it a software subscription? Is this a
Yeah.
SaaS thing?
Yeah, we would do it. Yeah. Right now, because OrthoGrid was successful in billing per case, right? So it's just the software. Every time you do a case, we just bill you for it. Um, the the vision that we're having right now is again because we're partnered with Vent that we would open up like one website where a portal can come in and the doc just can say, I have MRI data, I've got the fluoroscopy data, so that have to be an ODI customer or a CT scan, and we would be able to allow them on one platform to be able to plan out everything. And in the background, it's paying the company that owns the rights to whichever technology.
Okay. Got it. So that's the only this one sounds really good. The only thing I would worry about is does it slow the customer, does it slow the surgeon down?
You know,
You know, you bringing a C arm into a case that doesn't need a C arm, that's friction. Um,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know, changing the behavior. I mean, if you're scoping all day long and then oh wait a minute, we gotta pull in the C arm from the other OR 7. You know, that scares me a little bit. Um, but you know, I mean nobody's got real time imaging of ligament and tendon attachments. That's incredible.
yeah. This is why we are in discussions right now with already with majors on this video. That's Dr. Cole. That's Dan in the background. That's a
Yeah, I
cadaver
see
lab.
him.
Yep, with trackers. We've been doing labs every week as they're building the database showing that they can accurately predict. So in this case, they were using a CT scan, but Gilly, Vent Creativity can accurately create a digital twin with the ligaments with MRI, fluoroscopy, or CT data. It doesn't matter. So,
Cool.
yeah, we're just keep on building and building and building the capabilities of the technology. Let's see if I can, how do I get to stop sharing now? Let's go back to here, stop sharing. Yeah, it kind of blows my mind. I had a young guy that I was kind of mentoring, screen. Okay, okay. All right, we're working. And I had to explain to him, I said, it's not supposed to happen this way. There's no right one, you could think in your career if you got one time where
One,
you
yeah,
had a big one, and we got four sitting in our lap, right now, and I'm just kind of shaking my brain like, Lord, this is too amazing. Every time I show a doctor, they just go crazy. That last one I just showed you, I was talking to a doc, and he laughed, and he said, if you do that, if you pull that off, you literally will make billions of dollars. He said, I would use that every single day. I said, you sure? Because he's an older generation. He's, general guy doing totals, doing sports, but he's doing massive numbers. And he said, man, you would make my life so, every time I go to an ACL, I'm kind of wondering, am I getting the tunnel right? He said, start with a PCL, Don. Like, we
hmm,
have no idea. Like, if you just did PCLs, pretty soon they're going to say, well, why am I not using my ACLs? I mean,
right.
this is crazy, the total joint replacement, Dr. Cole's vision, which I've now fully caught because I ran knees for DePuy and Biomet for quite a while. Um, I get it now. Like, if I scan a total knee patient, I can preoperatively plan everything. Intraoperatively, I can be guiding everything. I can check it. I can check all the ligamentous balancing with my trials in or before my trials,
Yeah, yeah,
all with the C arm. And then when you're all done and the patient comes back, how do you know how well it's working? What if there's an issue or a problem? What if you had all this and Dean's thought is every surgeon just goes in the database. We're building our AI program so we start to become predictive,
hmm. Yeah.
pointing things out. And
That's the holy grail. If you have thousands and thousands of patients, then the AI can say, well, wait a minute, you need to move 3 millimeters left or laterally. Yeah, that's the holy grail.
yeah.
Wow, I like it. Um, Man, you've got some hot ones.
Yeah, and hopefully it's not me being obviously I'm biased, but
Yeah.
I don't want to
The
try to
challenge the
convince
challenge
you.
is, yeah, it's just so hard to do, Don, but you got to separate technology,
Hmm.
clinical benefit from business model, and they have
Hmm.
nothing to do with each other.
Hmm.
There's so many great companies that have with great technology that have failed
Hmm.
because they didn't figure out the right, in software they call it product market fit. Um, and orthopedics, we just call it finding the right application kind of. Uh,
Yeah,
you got to get you got to deliver the product right. It's got to be priced right. The training's got to be really easy. Reimbursement. I don't know if you run into any reimbursement codes or not. I mean, everything's just got to be so well thought out. Um,
yeah.
Even if you have a better mousetrap, that's just the starting point.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I don't know how public you want to be about all this stuff, but um,
Well, I mean, I would take your advice and counsel. I mean, if you think, hey, Don, you should be talking about some of this stuff. I mean, we're already, ODI, we are on LinkedIn the guys are starting to
uh,
go more live with it. That's how we've got tracked down by the big guys. They're like,
right.
hey, what is this that you've got going on? But
You got to
any
be careful with that because what you do
right.
is you attract people that are like-minded.
Yeah.
And I see people get in trouble with that. If you like strawberry ice cream and you're talking about strawberry ice cream on LinkedIn, people are gonna say, I love strawberry ice cream. Show me. And then you end up with a confirmation bias
Yeah.
to go find people that absolutely hate it. And
Yeah.
as it's hard to do,
Right.
you got to find people that just, I will never use an imaging thing in my life in a ACL case.
Hmm.
Talk to them, and it's painful, but those are really valuable discussions.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. 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 Shoulder stuff. I mean, I showed you knees, but it would be just as valuable in
oh
shoulder.
yeah,
In fact, one of the giants, that's what they specifically were, targeting. Now they're realizing, whoa, could be even bigger than that. Scott Banks is friends with Ronnie or Roni Abovitz, the Mako founder.
yeah, Ronnie, yeah, yeah. He was
Yeah,
there.
and
He was the founder, co-founder. Yeah.
yeah, and he ran ODI past him, and Roney's comments were he was blown away. He said if GE or Phillips or Siemens knew what you guys have already done, they would. He said they would buy you for a couple hundred million today. So Scott's guys have figured out what nobody else has been able to figure out. How do you take, this idea that you can, do a 3D scan and get a reconstruction? There is GE has they have something like that, but nothing of this magnitude. Scott's PhD guys have figured out how to do it. I watched them do it live. We were in a cadaver lab, and we got an elbow. Let's do an elbow, and boom, boom, boom. And the guys are in the back. It's not even automated yet, right? And they were just, 10 minutes later, there was the elbow, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, um, yeah, yeah. So Roney, he was all hot to trot. So I mean, these are all people that can be critical. They have no reason to be positive. I'm trying to, where's the skeptic? I mean, I like hearing the stuff, that you're
Yeah.
saying, but
Business model, business model, business model. That's
okay,
if Zimmer or Stryker or somebody's going to buy this, they're going to figure out how do I plug it into our system and
yeah,
sell it like crazy without
right,
having to retrain, re-inventory, or you're going to cannibalize other products. I mean, that's the other thing that people rarely think about with strategics is they have hundreds of millions of dollars in instruments and
yep,
stuff, trial
yeah,
instruments, and they can't disintermediate themselves even if they want to.
mm-hmm,
That's another box you have to check. Is this an additive? Does this give Zimmer or Stryker a new way to make revenue, uh,
mm-hmm,
or is this going to cannibalize something? It's you know
yeah, yeah,
that's another question you have to ask. The business model is everything, Don. I mean,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, I love this stuff.
That's
Uh,
good thought. Yeah. Well, if you appreciate your time, or our hour's nearly up, but if you, as the days and whatever go by, you think of us or me and Dan, and if you have some ideas for us about like, hey, I think you should
well,
talk about this, or
yeah, let me throw out something that could really help. So I run this community called Bone Chat, and it's all mostly startup founders. Some of everybody's entrepreneurial. We've got almost 50 members now. It's not cheap. It's like $200 a month, and it's a really close-knit community.
hmm,
And they all help each other. It's very collaborative. We can throw
hmm,
thing out. We have a Zoom call every Thursday. And
hmm,
a lot of times what we do is stress test a business. So
hmm,
somebody will throw out, "Hey, I got this idea, and we just stress tested I'm sure you've never heard of this, but there's a company called X-Plant Lab that
hmm.
is I mean, I love these guys. But they've got in a they're they're a diagnostic company. They're the only ones in the world that can tell you before you get a hip or knee if you have a metal ion problem or not. Uh,
Oh,
and
yeah,
and they have patents on a genomic test. So you either do a cotton swab in your mouth or a blood test after surgery, and they'll tell you like 14% of all patients have some kind of reaction to
yep,
titanium or chrome or cobalt, and they will do it's a 24-hour test. It's just a diagnostic, and it'll tell the patient you got to have this type of implant. You're in the 14% that can't.
mm-hmm,
And if there's a post-op problem and there's pain and infection and nobody knows what's going on, they can do a blood draw and
hmm,
say you got the wrong alloy in your body. Anyway, they're in the UK. They're coming to the US in a few months. And the reason I'm telling you this is the CEO founder he joined Bone Chat and he threw out here's my plan for world domination in the US. And they basically just slapped him around for an hour. And they said, you have the wrong business model, you have the wrong pricing, you have the wrong sales channels, and they beat him up and he thanked everybody profusely and
yeah.
he went back to the well and he completely rethought the way he was going to sell this and launch it in the US. So anyway,
Who
Bone
is that guy? Who is that guy?
Eminol. Eminol, and he's got a really long last name.
Because
Uh,
John, you know John Dougal, you know John from Depew. So John was friends with this UK scientist PhD who was
okay.
when Depew's metal on metal cup was going bad, he was doing a lot of stuff, and they actually people went after him for a while, but he was describing. That's how I became aware of when you told me about this. I saw the papers that were published. I realized, oh my, this is a genetic disposition predisposition.
Yep.
All you need is a test. So that's what these guys are doing.
That's what they're doing. It works. It's like it works 100% of the time.
Yeah.
There's like I think there's I don't know, and the Eminol has got a pharmaceutical background and tons of studies. There's
Wow.
two genetic factors. If you have the two genetic factors, you're for Chrome or whatever, they know
Yeah.
exactly that
Yeah.
you're um, anyway. But I would, this is my proposal to you, Don, is take one of your four companies and, you're welcome to present on Bone Chat for like, you got to present for 5 or 10 or 15 minutes and then
Hmm.
just open it up for Q&A. And
Yeah.
the members will, out of 50 members, we get about 10 live every Thursday and they will start asking you questions about, yeah. And a lot of them have sales backgrounds.
Hmm.
Um, they'll say, how are you selling this? What's your sales channel? How's it priced? It'll be really valuable. You're
Yeah.
welcome.
Drop me an email about it so that I can spread it to the team, and I'll probably take you up on it.
Yeah,
We're um, we're about to close on a significant round, and so everybody knows you have one job right now is to support Don to get this money in.
yeah, money first. I
Yeah,
understand.
but as soon as we clear this hurdle, I would be extremely. That's very interesting. That would be a great idea. Also, because I'm mentoring and training these guys, I'll take each one of them and have them experience that.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
that's good.
yeah.
Yeah, the blind spot I've been watching startups for 40 years, and the blind spot is, you develop a technology, it works great in cadavers, you get through the FDA, your surgeon champions love it. But then when you go commercial, you don't quite have the right, the product's not right, just quite right. It's clumsy or it's too big or it's too expensive and
Yeah.
and you don't have a second chance to go to launch. And it's people, you know, people tend to make that mistake. My baby's beautiful, everybody loves my baby.
Hmm.
And then you go live and
Hmm.
people start saying, well, that doesn't work in our facility.
Hmm.
Your baby is actually ugly.
Hmm.
And it's hard to, unless you iterate with a lot
Yeah.
of soft launches, it's hard to
Hmm.
avoid that mistake. You only get a
Yeah.
chance for the big launch, and it's a small industry. As you,
Yeah.
everybody, Trans One. I mean, there's so many companies like Trans One.
Hmm.
Trans One should have been a huge success, but they didn't have their surgical technique figured out, and two or three patients died, and
Oops.
that was
Yeah.
it. I mean, they're still around barely, but they're a shell of a company now.
Yeah. Well, I preached all my guys that actually learned it from Dave Blue, who's I've been partnered with him for a long time. Dave calls it micro commercialization.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
you only go to 5 or 10 sites, and they're your designer sites, right? They give you the design, but what you're talking about is, okay, now that you have a design, let's see how everything
exactly.
flows from the totes, right? The reps or the techs, the surge techs to the surgeon to the patient.
Interview the everybody. Interview the OR
Yeah.
staff, the circulating nurse,
Yeah.
rep. How would you support, service this? Yeah.
Right.
I did three startups myself, and all three we had a mantra where we always did our first cases outside the US on purpose.
Oh, wow.
And I love that philosophy. I mean, at Ellipse, we did our first magic rods in Hong Kong,
Hmm.
and we did 5 patients, and we just sat back and watched, and we realized we didn't have the right product. We had to redesign the and we didn't hurt any patients, obviously, but we had to redesign the implant, the remote control system, everything. And then for Precise Nail, which is the limb lengthening nail, it's kind of an ISKD killer for Dan. Uh,
Yeah.
we did our first cases in Australia. We did a series of about 5, and we sat back and watched, and then we came back and redesigned everything. It wasn't
Yeah.
ready for the US. And then I was involved. I did everything on the third product, which was a gradual HTO correction. And I did those in India. I found a guy in India, flew out there with all the crap, and we did
Hmm.
5 patients in 5 days. And we came back and said, "Oh, we got a lot of work to do here."
Hmm.
I think that's so valuable.
Yeah.
And when you do it over there, nobody knows, but if you do it,
Yeah. If you go public here, yeah,
you
it's
go
like,
public here, it's a small world, man. I'm a big fan of, and there's some Bone Chat members. I mean, one of our founders is from Colombia.
oh,
You can do a surgery in Colombia in 6 months from now
oh.
on with anything. It's a prescription. Um, I mean,
Ah,
there's countries like that, Eastern Europe.
yeah.
You can do surgeries. It's so easy, and you
Yeah.
can really test. You can really test the usability
Yeah.
and you can watch the clinical results, especially if things fail in the first few weeks or don't fail. That you only you can figure out if it works or not. I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah. All right, brother. Well, thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate
thanks, Don.
it. Yeah.
I'd love to work with you guys.
Yeah.
Uh, I
Yeah.
see I see so many startups, Don. I mean, I find a new startup almost every day in orthopedics. And there's so many, and they're all under the radar screen.
Hmm.
Most
Hmm.
of them are pre-commercial. Um, look at Abanza. Abanza's about to come to the US. That's a cool company. Um, but there's so many. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'd love to help you guys if you need help.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right, brother. Thank you for your
Thanks.
time. Send me
Thanks,
that
Don.
email. I'll be in touch.
All
Okay.
right, I will. Thanks, Don.
Thank you. See you. Bye.
Bye.